Oh, the camera's not working. Okay. Let me get this. It should take 2 seconds here. Camera, and it's way over there, not looking at me. Okay, there we go. And now I gotta refresh it. Anyways, here we go. Here I am. That's so simple. What's going on, investors? Des here from Investments, and today we are going to look at some charts for some cryptos, for some stocks, for a couple that are actually running, and then a couple of our current active trades. We're going to take a look at them, see how they are doing, see what we can spot in the market, see if we can see anything before it runs, see if anything's actionable, see if anything needs to be done. If you're new here, my name is Dust, and you're joining me in my trading journal on the path to financial independence. And a tool in my toolbox is going to be trading, because it's done well for me in the past, and identifying patterns and looking at the charts is it's kind of a fun activity. So it's one of my hobbies and I enjoy doing it. So you're along with me, and I hope you are getting some value out of this. If you have questions, if you have ones you want me to take a look at, please leave them in the chat, either during the live or after the video, and I'd be happy to take a look at them. Otherwise, I tend to look at the same ones over and over because those are the ones that are in my focus, and I'd be glad to look at broadening that horizon. And we will obviously start with Bitcoin, because that is the big mama today. And the fact is that Bitcoin dominance just keeps growing and growing, and the macro crypto market is driven by this, obviously. So you are running to 28.8, which is a very important level, and you're already at 28,000. And what we'll show you is where we started and where we ended up right now. So you had this important line at 19,937, which is this tan line, correlated with the 2017 high. And what has happened since our most recent pullback from our all-time high of 60,000 to current time frame is you've just had multiple touches on that line, and you're showing that there is support at that level. There is some sort of substance to that level, right? So you got these touches in November of 20th, but then when you came back, you had just multiple little bit of price action up and down touches before you have a capitulation move. Now this big capitulation waterfall down, this one right here, this is pretty common when you're swinging off your all-time high, that you're going to see something like that, a big capitulation move out. To be honest, I would have expected to see it much longer and drawn out, much like this one, where in 2017 you had this flat support line as you were drawing down the price and drawing it down before it capitulated down, and people just got fed up, they got exhausted, they sold their positions before it could start to run. One of the things you did see in that is you also saw a back test of that. So you had this nice swing up, but then you kind of staggered around and I had a nice little back test before continuing to all-time highs. I'm saying that you see this capitulation move and you saw a back test. I don't know if this is the back test. There could be potentially a bigger one that might play out in a different time frame. Maybe 18,000 looks like a good level. However, the interesting thing is when you broke above this and you came back to it, you bounced right at that $19,000 level. So that I guess tan line held and really reversed your price to the upside, and since that bounce, you're up. I used the wrong tool, but we'll continue with it. Almost 45%, almost 50%. So you're doing really well. You can't expect a run like that to continue on forever. I guess you could because it's Bitcoin, but I'm calling for Your next stop is at 28.9. I know I'm not the only one calling at that, but the reason being is this green line just has multiple touches. There's some significance to this level where you've touched it multiple times as support to the upside when you were at the $60,000 range. You know, when you were testing these all-time highs, this is where you were bouncing. So there's some sort of significance to this. Yet to be determined if it's going to be played out as resistance. So when you come up here, is it going to reject from that level and bounce back down, and then determine what it wants to do, maybe continue on? Or is it going to break out above there and use it as a new floor to continue to spring on forward? Yet to be seen. You need to let the chart paint the picture. I'm of the opinion that we're probably going to test it at least. So I don't think we're going to stop right here and not hit the 28.9 level. I think you're at least going to hit that level, and then you got to wait to see what's going to happen, if it's going to reject. Either way, I do think we are going to make a continuation. But it wouldn't be uncommon to see a nice pullback at this point. I think if we do pull back, a very reasonable level would be the $25,000 approximately. And that will correlate to the thank you if you blessed me. That would correlate to the 382. So that would be a very light retrace, but still in the common retrace zone was just the first step of it, right? So not a deep retrace, not even a half, or not even a 50%. I think that'd be a reasonable place for it to do a pullback to and then bounce forward. And the reason being is you got multiple touches here. You got touch here as resistance, and then nothing else except for you got a little, I mean, it's debatable. This candle here looks like a wick came down to touch it as well. So seems like a reasonable place to pull back to and then continue onward if it decides to do that. A couple other ones I want to take a look at. First one being XRP. I am going to be pretty quick about this one. I'm freaking tired today. We have a 3-month-old baby, and you gotta sometimes take what you can get for sleep. I guess we'll do Bittrex. No, I have a chart somewhere. Let's do Kraken, I think is where I have it. XRP. Was it on my watch list? Yeah, it's on my watch list. I'm an idiot. So we were saying for a while that this is doing really well. You're building higher lows each time, which is great. You're doing great, but it's just taking forever to do anything, and that's not a good sign, right? It's almost like it's stalling, right? And what happens when you're in a plane and it stalls? Well, good things aren't going to happen, right? But you were building this nice parallel channel, which was continuing higher, but just very gradually. You have since broke out of that channel, so very good to see a nice breakout above that. You have done that one time before, but then quickly fell back into it. I would say what you need to do, you need to break this 53-cent level to show that you're going to continue on, doing something now. Just because you have this locally, this 53-cent level, now it's kind of like hanging over your head saying like, hey, you have to break this before you're showing that you're doing anything. So this breakout is nice, but it's not really showing supreme strength like you would expect. Like if this little formation didn't exist right here, or if it like came up to this top of this parallel channel and then came back down, this breakout would be 10 times better. It'd be way more significant in my book, where it's like, okay, we're running here. Since you have this formation, you have to take that breakout with a grain of salt, where yeah, it's great, but you're not doing anything till 53,000. Just kind of sucks. Yeah, anyways, GME, I never look at this because I don't play that game. I know I have buddies that do that. I personally just don't. I thought there was some sort of data that I'm missing on here. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, after hours supposedly it's up like 50%. I don't know why it's not showing right now. Is there a way I can get after hours on there? Okay, I don't know. So if anyone knows, let me know. However, you do have a nice little double bottom formation forming up, and I'll show you another one on Intel later where it's a little further along. Okay, I'm just gonna draw some important lines. I'm gonna see, I think this is a pretty important one here. Now this is where you got multiple touches here, 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 here. You got a little bit of price action as well back in, I'm gonna go, oh, I'm on the 4-hour chart, in February of 21. So it's an important line to break above or to respect, right? The one you're at currently really doesn't have much price action. It's not like it's a telltale area where you would reverse. If anything, like I would think it'd be down here or even right here. This is where I would have drawn it, right there or right there is the two levels I would have probably drawn. To be honest, this one, the lower one at $5.47 being more substantial. However, you're not getting down there yet, right? Do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Like your next step is you need to get above 21. And I'm gonna look at this real quick. GME stock after hours. After hours, you're up 48% to 2620. So you are broken out above that. You're broken out above this level as well. 2620 puts you, let's make a nice line, huh? Come on, dude. No, not copy, horizontal. Making a mess here. 26 20. Let's see where you're at right now. You're broken out above this, which is great. That's kind of like your XRP thing where you had that local high that you need to break above now. So your double bottom is confirmed because you broke above that neckline. So you are actively in breakout territory. Not confirmed if you're above the 200-day moving average. I'll have to wait to see what that looks like when that actually paints that candle. But you're also going to have a massive gap. Like you're going to have a 40% gap, and gaps kind of tend to fill and backfill. So we might see some immediate downside is what I'm saying. So we'll see. Okay, let's move along. I'll show you this double bottom on Intel. It's almost like a triple bottom, to be honest. But you are reversing now, not looking great. So Intel, it was a play that I'm looking to watch because this red line, this solid red line at 25.46 correlates back to levels that have been tested multiple times, dating all the way back to 1997, if you can believe that, where it was tested as a resistance on August 13th of 1997. And you can see it's bouncing at this point, right? So it's actively reversing. You're getting a little bit of price action. You're saying like, hey, I'm putting in a double bottom at that level. And realistically, what you want to see is you want to see this neckline broke. And that neckline happens to correlate to a 236 if you do a fib from this conservative high to this new low, right? If you do get that breakout above the neckline, I mean, you could see a nice 33% gain to the 618, 20% gain or 10% gain to the 382, and this is the common retrace zone. However, the real play here is you're looking for it to reverse and start to cascade higher, right? You want to see it start doing something. And there's a couple more that I'll show you real quick that I want to do something similar. Nokia, for instance, you got inverse head and shoulders that you are waiting to get to that neckline before you take action. Once you get a breakout above that breakout above this green neckline here is when you would want to take your trade. To get your measured move, you measure from the neckline to the top of the head, copy that, paste that over there. That gives you about a potential 62% gain. But again, it's more reasonable that you'd continue to reverse, potentially see $11.54 and continue on higher. I think that $11.54 level is a much more reasonable and technical level than the measured move on this, for instance, just due to the fact that the multiple touches here, like dating back to July 20th of 1998. Where it was tested as resistance and then tested as support on August of 02, tested on July of 04 as the A point on the ABC correction on the downtrend. If you want an example of this inverse head and shoulders, look no further than GE, right? You got a nice, let me get rid of this line that's clearly blocking everything. You got a nice inverse head and shoulders that formed up, right? And you are actively broken out. So you have your shoulder, your head, and your other shoulder, and then you have your neckline. And you have broken out above the neckline, so you're on pace to hit your measured move. Your measured move is from the neckline to the top of the head. Copy that, paste it over here, and you're looking at a potential 57% run if you were to make that play when you broke that neckline. You can also limit your risk exposure, right? Because realistically, if you break back below that neckline, you can set your stop loss below there. So you have a nice control to limit your exposure on there. Your measured move also correlates to a level at $130, but that level itself dates back to a test as support in January 03 and also September of 97. There's just, it's an important level, you can tell, because you had this massive all-time high run to a pullback, and that's where you're aiming for, right? I'm going to very briefly just take a look at some of these and see how they're doing. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I just want to quickly analyze what I think is happening with some of these. Because I do hear my baby is crying and I don't like to hear that. Want to assist as much as possible. Nice trend line, do a back test. Still you're making higher lows, so that's fantastic. Not looking bad on Shiba. Not looking super strong yet though. It seems like the Bitcoin dominance is affecting some of these cryptos because this pump should have been a lot bigger, right? It was not as significant as it was with Bitcoin. Same thing with 0x, making a higher low, but you did have a significant pullback. You respected this level at 19 cents, which is good. Let's see if there's any more I want to see. I want to check out PAA. See if we're going to start breaking out above this. We did get stopped out of this trade because he fell back below the breakout level. But it might have just been a preemptive breakout where you're going to do it again, and this second time will be the real time, right? Sometimes you get these little like, oh, we're running, I don't have enough strength yet, so you're gonna fall back down and then you'll run in. It's no problem to get stopped out, right? Because you can always take another shot, right? So limit your loss and take your second shot. Just monitor it. EOSE, this is one that is again currently breaking out. So since we've spotted it, I'm going to get the right tool. I think we caught it on this back test. What the fuck am I doing here? What even is that? What did I just, bars and patterns? Okay. We caught it on the back test here. And I think we got it somewhere breaking above this level. So already we're up about 60%. But there's just so much room to the upside on this chart that it looks fantastic. Really need to get above that $250 level, $2.50 level, and if you do, your next stop is $5, but there's nothing really there until $7 to $8 and then $10. So just a lot of room to the upside on this one. MOS looking like it's trying to respect that $42.35 level. Actually not even reaching it fully, so starting to reverse beforehand, which is good. You're starting to kind of build this descending wedge, which I don't know if I really like. It kind of seems like energy stocks are losing their momentum and tech stocks are gaining the momentum. Amazon kind of doing exactly what we've drawn, but a little quicker, right? So we were saying that you might get a bounce off this level, come to this broadening wedge that we were seeing, do a little back test, and then continue to break out until the way the broadening wedge works is that you would break out until the top of the formation, which happens to be about a 65% gain, which sounds unreasonable for Amazon, but I don't think that's too crazy. Let's check out Theta, and then I think that is it for the night. Building higher lows, which is good. You're above the 200-day moving average, which is also good. You did have that significant pullback. Still is, your low is still higher than your previous low, and definitely higher than this low, so you're looking okay. Not looking too bad, but not looking super fantastic either. Is there any that are looking really, really good? Ethereum is one of the better looking ones. I think honestly you're on a run to 2000, but if you are doing that, you could easily hit any of these levels between $2,000 to $2,650. It's just the retrace zone, and this is not from the all-time high. It's a very conservative high to this low, which would be very reasonable to obtain. I think LTC was doing not really. BNB is looking better than most. You're breaking out above the local highs, but again, you got this local high, so no, I want to see 340 or 364 before I really believe its case, right? And just scroll real quick. See if there's anything else. US does not look terrible. XLM, you're breaking out, but you're breaking out above the 200-day moving average. I keep drawing freaking lines. You're building higher lows. Nice volume on this. It's hard to see if that's just barely. It looks like it might be a bullish divergence. Oscillator's very close, right? It's almost completely level. Not bad though. OMG is still pumping too. All right, that's all I'm gonna look at today. Yeah, if you have other ones you want me to take a look at and you got this far, I appreciate you watching. I would appreciate you throw some requests, you know, let me know what you want me to take a look at next time and I'd be happy to do it.